It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. On the radio, on podcasts everywhere, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube. Also go to talklawradio.com where you can post a question or offer to be a sponsor. Today we're going to be talking about home care and elder law. But first, I want to remind you that our mission is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots by listening to me talk about the law on the radio. Shannon, I want to introduce you again first to the listeners. How are you encouraging the community this week?
I've been working a lot with Blue House, BLU, down on Commerce. Really great organization. They're doing really valuable work. If anyone's looking for a way to get involved with the community and really invest somewhere that's healing the community, I highly recommend Blue House. BLU is how they spell it. Hey, in your little intro, you left out TikTok. You're on TikTok also, yes? How's TikTok going?
I left TikTok because of the CCP.
Wow.
I didn't want them monitoring my
Have they noticed?
data.
Have they noticed your boycott of TikTok?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's some uncertainty there with whether the U.S. government is going to allow TikTok to exist.
True, good point.
But I did hear that there were some offers by big media businesses to buy TikTok, so I think they're still working on that.
Interesting. Wow, cool.
So you're still preparing for the event next month for Blue House.
It's on September 25th, and it's our second annual, and we did one before, last year. But we're trying to make it a little bit bigger so then new things come up, new things that we didn't really have to consider last time. It's been a really interesting, and I feel good about it. I think it's going to be fun. September 25th at Chicken and Pickle. So please come, everyone that is in the area and can come.
Yeah, great. So now I want to introduce Jeremy Farber with Home Instead of Boerne and New Braunfels.
That's correct. Yes,
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
We're supposed to be talking about home care, Shannon.
Yes, sir. Please forgive my distraction.
Well, it sounds like Blue House. You have a house involved, so.
There you go. You see?
There you go. They do.
Jeremy backs me up.
They do some kind of care there for kids.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, they do a rehabilitation when families are fractured. It's really good. So let me talk about that for the next 5 or 10 minutes.
So Jeremy, tell us, what is home care and what is the population that you serve?
Sure. So home care, and people, first of all, I'll tell you the differences in home care and home health, because when we started looking into businesses and we looked into home care, I couldn't tell you the difference between home health and home care. And that's very common that we have to define it and help people understand the differences. So home health is considered skilled nursing. And so physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech, things of that nature. Home care is primarily help with activities of daily living. That's where we really, spend the bulk of our time providing care. Things like bathing, grooming, dressing, toileting, meal preparation. And on one end of the spectrum, we have companionship. So very easy care where we're there. We're spending time with somebody, maybe playing cards and just being a companion, all the way to end-of-life care, where a client would be on hospice, maybe bedbound, and death is imminent, and we get a chance to spend time with them in their final hours, and providing family respite and being the caregiver so the family can be family and not have to be the caregiver.
Tell us a little bit about how you evolved into this business. You had some caregiving experience early on in your life, and the same with your wife. Tell us about how that happened.
Yeah, you may have to cut me off because I can talk for a while. But during COVID, so I'll tell you, I'm in my third career. So I started as a college baseball coach. I did that for 10 years, loved it, loved the game of baseball. I got to coach my son after I quit coaching professionally throughout his entire career. Now he's in college playing. And
How cool.
so after 10 years of doing that, I needed a more family-friendly occupation, got into sales, and during COVID was let go by a company. And I had been thinking about business ownership for quite some time, and so got into looking into businesses, evaluating businesses, and my wife and I sat down and we came up with a list of things that were absolutes. Like, what do we need in a business? And the number one thing was we had to serve people. Serving people had to be at the center of whatever business we did. And when we looked into home care, that's 100% of what we do.
Right.
We don't deal with widgets, and we not only serve our clients, but we get an opportunity to serve all of our employees, and we have a lot of employees, and primarily caregivers. So we love that, and we serve. That's what we do. But I had to reflect as I was evaluating businesses. When I came across home care, I was like, wait a second, I've done this. Mm-hmm. I took care of an elderly gentleman once a week when I was in college. I'd just go to his house, and essentially it was like, okay, all you're going to do is take him to the country club. And then when I got there, they were in their 80s. His wife was like, well, can you help him? He needs to go to the restroom. Can you help him with this? And I'm like, wait, I didn't get trained on this. Like,
right.
This wasn't part of the deal. But it was so rewarding to be able to help them maintain dignity and do some things that he wasn't able to do on his own. Mm-hmm. And his wife couldn't help him.
Right.
So I won't go into all the details, but it was extremely rewarding. And so as I reflected on that, it really solidified our decision to get into home care.
And your wife had some experience as well.
She did. Yeah. In college, she worked for a family that had a child that was young, fairly young, but he couldn't see. He was blind, and probably had some other special needs as well. But that actually led her to go into special education, and she got a degree in special ed.
Does she work in the business with you?
A little bit. We call her the CFO. So my staff, if they're watching, they're going to be laughing because she's the Chief Fun Officer.
Oh, I see.
So she's in charge of engagements and things that we do with our key players, and she helps with our quarterly trainings, quarterly caregiver meetings. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she's active, but she has her own business. She's an education advocate. So she helps families that have special needs children navigate the education process.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's great. Shannon, in just a minute or so, tell us what your thoughts or experience with caregivers or older people that need care.
Well, I'm just blown away by his answer. I'm a little hyper-focused on that. That was an amazing answer. Mm-hmm. What a valuable profession. I mean, yeah, I agree with everything that he said, and it does make me think of family members that we've cared for, and it makes me think of my parents and just how grateful that couple must have been that you were there, the one that you were talking about when you were a young man. Isn't that interesting how it came out later?
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah.
I forgot about it. And the interesting thing is, I think, although I think he may agree with you that it was valuable.
Yeah.
I would say that I got way more out of that
than
he did. And I think our caregivers express the same thing, when they tell us about their experiences.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's necessary to have people that feel that way. I mean, you wouldn't want to just hire somebody off the street who wanted a job.
Right.
You want to hire somebody that loves to provide care.
That's it. There's more of a mission.
And
that's one of the fruits of the Spirit, that's mentioned in the Bible. I don't know what verse that is, but I've heard of it. So before we go to a break, I want to talk about a book that I'm going to give away. All you have to do is call 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867, and ask Jeremy Farber, owner of Homestead in Boerne and New Braunfels, a question about caregiving. I'll tell you about the book in just a minute. Stay tuned. Losing a loved one is hard. I'm Todd Marquardt, and I help families like yours navigate probate with clarity and compassion. Don't go through it alone. Call 210-530-4278. That's 210-530-4278. Or visit marquardtlawfirm.com to get answers and peace of mind. Do it before you die. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Jeremy Farber, owner of Homestead in Boerne and New Braunfels, and Shannon Roberta San Antonio, Instagram influencer and encourager of the community of San Antonio, who's always mentioning Blue House. You should find Blue House online to be reminded about what that is. And we were just talking about the fruits of the Spirit, which is in what chapter?
5 of Galatians.
Awesome. So look that up. I mentioned,
like I had to.
I mentioned that we're giving away a book to somebody who calls the station live today on Saturday, August 16th, 2025, to ask a question of Jeremy Farber or Shannon or me about home care, caregiving, or elder law. The number's 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. And the book is called The Only One Left by Riley Sager. It's a novel. It's a mystery novel about a caregiver and what she goes through with her own life, with her job, and with the people that she's called to serve. So I don't want to take a lot of time on that, just to encourage people to call into the show. You were telling us about your background and how you got involved with caregiving early on and your passion for providing care now. Tell us a little bit about why families you serve love your company. That's a pretty bold statement, so I want to hear some real-world stories and examples.
Sure. We have a lot of stories, obviously. When I started with Homestead, the previous owner said, there's something you need to remember. There's never a dull moment at Homestead, and that is 100% true, because it's people, and that's what we deal with, and people are messy. And I say all the time, if it wasn't for people, my life would be easy. Mm-hmm. It's challenging. But we really...
That's what my father-in-law says. My father-in-law's a rabbi. A little flex there for you. And he says, families are messy, but they're so worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think the easiest way for me to answer that or to describe why it's important, we really get a chance to – a couple things come to mind. We allow people to keep their independence as long as they possibly can. Without help, whether it be family or Homestead providing care, people lose independence over time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We allow people to age in place in their home, or sometimes we step into facilities, assisted living facilities, and we help them age gracefully there and maintain whatever level of independence that they have. We help them maintain that and retain it. And we allow the families to be family and not have to be the caregiver. And not everyone has that luxury.
Right.
But, times have changed. People are much more transient now. We have statistics that say the average care that we provide, the family is on average like 167 miles away from their loved one
I believe
that we're
it.
providing care for.
I can see how that would happen more often these days.
Where in the past, you can think, 50 years ago or 100 years ago, people were raised in one city or town or wherever. They went somewhere to college or whatever they did, or they started their occupation, but they did it there. And families were much more closely geographically, but also closer in terms of their relationships.
Right.
And things are different now. So, Home Instead has an opportunity to step into that gap and fill a need. That's a very strong need at times.
Right. That makes perfect sense.
Did you know that there's a city ordinance here in San Antonio that requires caregivers to be licensed? Now,
I should know that. I don't know that. That is
your
great,
business
Todd.
and your employees are exempt from that because of your compliance with state law. But if you want to hire a caregiver off the street, a neighbor or a friend, they have to get a license. They have to apply with the city. Isn't that somewhat shocking? I mean, they should have a billboard that says that. The reason I know about it is because I have clients that are coming in to get their power of attorney and their will, and if they're older, they'll say, well, I need to get a caregiver for my wife or my husband, or they'll bring their kids with them and they'll say, we're trying to figure out how to pay for this cost. And I would hear stories about how they would, find somebody that was less expensive than like the professional home care company. They would find somebody from church that had done that for somebody else, or they had one of their neighbors. They said, well, my neighbor down the street, their son took care of them, so I guess he could take care of, Papa. And so what people don't know is that there's a lot of risk in bringing somebody into your house to provide care that you don't really know. I mean, they could be nice, right? They're probably friendly, but then you find out later that they're a straight-up criminal. They've been stealing your mom's jewelry or using her debit card. I've also heard of bad stories about the yard man, and all the bad stuff, the theft that goes on, charging $1,000, to mow the lawn.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Just taking advantage of
home repairs that weren't
necessary.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I guess.
So
you think it's a good thing? I know you're kind of against government regulation, and your whole show is.
Shannon's putting me on the spot.
Am I?
I'm sitting right in the middle. So let's.
I'm glad.
I don't know what I've gotten
brought this
myself
up,
into,
Shannon, because in a perfect world where people are using reason and logic, they would do an extensive interview on these potential caregivers.
Okay.
And say, well, have you committed any crimes? What skills or training have you learned in order to provide care for an older person? If they get confused, are you going to know how to respond to that? But then I was looking at this long list of crimes that will disqualify you from being a licensed caregiver in San Antonio.
Let's hear it. Cool.
And these are people that might not come straight from jail. There are a lot that could have come straight from jail. Like it says, if you murdered somebody, you can't be a licensed caregiver. But one of these was misapplication of fiduciary property or property of a financial institution. Okay. That's like a white-collar crime.
Okay.
That could be a very nice person.
Right.
But you don't want them,
right,
having care and control of your mom's wallet while you're gone.
Yeah.
Another one is online solicitation of a minor. that has nothing to do with caring for older people, but it's just
Todd, but can I ask you this? What kind of thing would be a crime that it would be okay? I mean, isn't the list like any crime?
Yes, there are a lot.
The only thing I can think of is maybe parking ticket or,
Yeah, no, I get your point.
Traffic violation.
Yes.
Traffic violations are easy ones. And I mean, from my perspective, we do see a lot of 40, 50, 60-year-olds that apply for caregiving positions.
Yeah.
And they made a mistake early on in their life. Were arrested. It could be writing a check for $25 and made a mistake.
For our younger listeners, a check is a piece of paper that we would present.
That's right. It's we don't do that very much anymore. But it was, didn't have funds.
Right.
And so they get arrested and charged, and
that'd be a Class B misdemeanor.
Right. So
kind of serious.
Right. So, but 30 years later, nothing on the record. They've changed their life. Right. And we have to make a decision as to whether or not this is something that, we would be comfortable putting them in a home of somebody that is vulnerable.
Right.
Well, and the other thing is you have the tools to do a nationwide background check.
That's right.
Because you're not just looking at their background here in San Antonio or even the state of Texas. Because people move all over the place multiple times, you don't know if this person is coming from another state to escape their criminal history. And so you need those tools. And I would not want to leave anybody with my grandparents that, were charged with any of this.
You get more and more vulnerable. I mean, it's just a fact of life. I don't know if you get more trusting, it kind of seems like it.
Speaking of older people, Jeremy, you're going to be shocked by this question. How are older people using AI?
That's a great question.
That is a good question.
I don't know that I can give you a definitive answer.
Or how will they? How do we think they might?
Well, Elon Musk has robots, and Homestead believes that they will be accessible within the next, 5 to 10 years, and they will have the capability of providing at least some level of care. And this makes sense. Now, I'll give you an example. I'm not saying that I like it or I agree with it, so just hear me out on this. But if you take someone that has dementia or Alzheimer's, we as humans, and you can relate to this, I'm sure you have somebody that you've had an opportunity to build a relationship with that has dementia or Alzheimer's, some type of memory issue.
Right.
We can get frustrated when they ask us 10 times the same question within a 3-minute period. Right? We can become very frustrated. A robot is not going to become frustrated. So a robot can be there and provide some level of assistance and not have the emotional or lack of emotional response that we have. So I do see that as potentially a benefit, but I don't know how far down the road we are from that.
Let me tell you a story about something I read about on News Nation. A 60-year-old man who wanted to eliminate salt from his diet asked ChatGPT for a replacement, wound up in the hospital after he accidentally poisoned himself. The AI platform recommended sodium bromide, a chemical often used in pesticides that the man used as a substitute for 3 months. So AI makes mistakes. I mean, we need to be aware of that. But what shocked me even more than that is that somebody who was 60 years old was using AI. And, I mean, that's not really that old anymore. That's like middle-aged. So I don't know if people 85 and up are using AI, but as time goes on, I think that they will.
I agree.
Hey, you've heard about the people falling in love with ChatGPT? I don't know if it's true or not, but there's several headlines around right now.
Well, there's a lot of scams geared toward older men that try and portray love in exchange for money. So if your loved one says that he has a girlfriend that you've never seen or met or heard from,
have them say potato.
you'll have to tell us more about that after the break. Remember to call the show at 210-308-8867 and ask me about the free book, the only one left. And ask a question for Jeremy Farber, owner of Homestead in Boerne and New Braunfels. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Jeremy Farber, owner of Homestead in Boerne and New Braunfels, and Shannon Roberta San Antonio, Instagram influencer. Follow her on Instagram and be encouraged while she's making soup. What else do you cook it? What else are you cooking?
I seem to make a lot of pasta salad.
Pasta. And then she'll have an outfit of the day, all while encouraging you. Now, this is our third segment where we talk about the sinners and the saints.
I don't know that dance. Is that easy to learn?
That's it. Good job.
That's all you do. If I was standing up, I'd be doing this.
In reality, are you a good dancer?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So I developed the Sinners and Saints segment because each one of us has at one time been a sinner and a saint. We were born into sin, and we're only saintly when we realize that we're saved by the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
The fear of God is the beginning of all knowledge.
Amen. And so the saints are sinners too because they're forgiven and absolved. So for this segment, I wanted to talk about bad things that happen when you don't hire a professional caregiver. And I guess it could happen with a professional caregiver, but you have background checks, you have training, you have what other things do you do to make sure that you don't hire a bad caregiver?
Yeah, so there's at least 4 steps for us just to get through the interview process. And so 3 levels of background check, along with we do a drug screen, which is not mandated in the state of Texas, or I don't know if the city of San Antonio, I'm assuming, won't require that for their certification. But I was astounded when I got in the business how many people cannot pass a drug test, a drug screen. We do a 5-panel urine test.
They look like good people, right? Friendly,
we had
nice.
We had to shift our interview process because we would spend an hour in an interview with a potential, caregiver, a candidate, and fall in love with them, and then do the drug screen on the back end, and they would fail, and we can't hire them. We will not hire them. The state of Texas would allow us to hire them. We don't have to do a drug screen.
Yeah.
But I was astounded at how many people can't pass. And
what are the main violations? Marijuana?
Marijuana is the main one. Mm-hmm. But we've seen, there's 5. We've seen everyone on there.
You don't want them being high while they're taking care of grandmother.
Or while they're not. We want people that are going to they're going to be not just good caregivers, they're going to be great caregivers, and they're going to be model citizens is what we hope, right? They're awesome. A great representation of Homestead when they're wearing their Homestead T-shirt and they're in HEB, and this happens frequently. Somebody says, hey, what is Homestead? And they get a chance to share their story, right? And then, and so we get to spread what home care is that way. But if they're wearing a Homestead shirt and they're high or, inebriated in some way, that's not the representation that we want. Mm-hmm. So
you brought me a shirt, didn't you?
I did bring you a shirt.
Show me.
I brought you all a shirt.
I bet.
So feel that, Todd. Feel how soft
that's a quality
is.
Soft T-shirt.
This is the official Homestead
nice.
Caregiver shirt that we wear. So I brought you each one.
Thank you.
So
awesome. Thank you.
I think I'll have your sizes. So
cool.
I think that's going to fit you.
Thank you.
Yeah. But there are truly unforeseen bad things that could happen just from hiring a friend or a neighbor or somebody that cared for somebody else that you heard of through the grapevine. Check fraud is one of those things that I've heard of.
You mentioned debit cards, money,
using
cash.
That person's social security number to apply for credit cards, missing jewelry. Let's see.
Have you ever seen those nanny cam videos where they just completely trusted this person and they'll put a little hidden camera and discover they were...
Well, because who would do that? I mean,
Right.
You just don't expect another human being to be so evil as to do something bad to an older person who's vulnerable.
There's one going around the internet right now where the elderly person was trying to get in the car and they were just berating them, and it's terrible to have someone in such a weakened position like that, you know.
They're very vulnerable.
And so aside from all of the financial crimes that could happen or the neglect, what are the differences between how a professional caregiver who's trained and skilled cares for somebody as opposed to like just a family member that, you know, has a desk job that's never cared for anybody?
Did you say aside from training, or was that?
Well, aside from the financial problems.
So there are a number of protections that are in place when you have an agency care for your loved one, right? Licensed, insured, and bonded. So that speaks to some of the financial. Mm-hmm. So you've got a level of protection. If somebody were to steal, if a homestead employee were to steal, and thankfully I've not had to deal with that, but if they were and we found out, we would obviously have to report it, and then we have insurance against those things. Mm-hmm. If you have a private caregiver, they're not more than likely going to be insured for theft. So you're taking that risk as a family and putting that individual in your house. And most of the time it's fine, right? The advantage is you're going to pay less money. The disadvantage is you have no recourse if something were to happen in most situations. But our training is extensive. And so, you know, there are a couple things that agencies offer besides, and I'll summarize, I'll keep it simple. One is the background that we talked about, mm-hmm. making sure that you're doing the best you can to put the safest, best caring individual in your home for your loved one. The second would be training. So you got backgrounds that are run, then you've got training. So I'm very I love sharing our training areas in both of our offices to our new applicants for caregiving jobs, and then also families that come into the office. And we get to show them what our training area looks like. We have a designated training area in each office where we do not only classroom work, and we talk about things like safety for the client, safety for them as a caregiver, boundaries, professional boundaries, but also hands-on training. You know, so we have a medical mannequin in each office where they get to work on from our training and engagement coordinator will teach them how to properly position themselves so that they can stay safe, but also how they can maneuver the client to do whatever needs to be done.
I'd be interested to know if you have a situation where the person that's being cared for grabs the keys and says, "I'm out of here, I'm going to HEB," you know, and they haven't been able to drive for 5 years,
yeah.
You know. I'm
trying to think of a specific example. The transportation part comes up quite a bit.
I would imagine.
You know, I have an attorney friend of mine that says there's two things in Texas that are the most difficult things to pry out of people's hands as they age: car keys and guns. Those are the two most difficult things to.
Wow, that makes sense.
You know, that they don't want to relinquish control over.
Right.
We cannot allow a client to drive our caregiver. We have to be the one to drive. Right. For obvious reasons when you think about it.
But there'd be some pushback on that. You know, that would be hard to explain.
We have to enlist the help of family sometimes to explain to mom or dad or grandma and grandpa why they can't do that.
I have a friend who does that, and she's not above lying. like you maybe would to maybe like a toddler, kind of lying is a strong word, diversion. You know, just everything you can to divert the attention, Well, we're going to do this right now. We'll drive to HEB later, but your show's on, or
right.
Can I share a story on that?
Well, I'm not in charge here. You are, Todd. Sorry.
Is that okay, Todd?
It has to be a short story.
Okay, so we have a client who has memory issues, and he thinks of himself as a high schooler where he plays baseball.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to get dressed. I got to get to the game. And the caregiver kept diverting him.
Right.
And the caregiver finally said, it was a rain out. Don't worry about it. And it put him at ease, and he was fine. He was able to move on.
That's a great answer.
God would forgive them. That's not a lie, technically, right?
I forgot to say a prayer.
Yes.
So I want to say a prayer for the show and the audience and the people that we all serve. Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the gifts and blessings that you give to us. We pray for caregivers, and we pray for those who need care. Just like Ruth took care of Naomi, and just like the Good Samaritan took care of the injured stranger, we pray that you would help us to help our clients and patients and friends and family to get the care that they need, and help those caregivers to do good work for the people that they serve. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 So you can still call the show at 210-308-8867 if you want to get a copy of that book called The Only One Left, which is a mystery novel about a caregiver. All you have to do is ask a question. Call 210-308-8867. We got to take a break, and we'll come back and talk about legacy. Losing a loved one is hard. I'm Todd Marquardt, and I help families like yours navigate probate with clarity and compassion. Don't go through it alone. Call 210-530-4278. That's 210-530-4278. Or visit marquardtlawfirm.com to get answers and peace of mind. Do it before you die. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Jeremy Farber, owner of Home Instead in Boerne and New Braunfels, and Shannon Roberta San Antonio, Instagram influencer and expert question asker for the radio show.
That was a great prayer, Todd.
Thank you. She has a tiny Jesus for those of you who are just listening on the radio. It's a good reminder that he's always there.
Yes, it is. I was thinking the same thing.
So we have somebody on the line that's going to ask a question, and this is the legacy segment, but I'll just start by defining legacy. I think this is from the Oxford Dictionary. Says, an amount of money or property left to someone in a will, like an inheritance, or the long-lasting impact of particular events, actions, etc., that took place in the past or of a person's life. So, Jeremy, given those two definitions, can you think of something that a family heirloom that you received or that you want to pass on, or some more intangible legacy, a life lesson that you learned from somebody that went before you? But before you answer, we have Mike live on the air. Mike, how's it going?
Very interesting show today. And I had a question for your guest. Is his service available in San Antonio?
I can answer, right?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Thanks for calling, Mike. Yes, it is. There are a lot of different agencies. There is a home instead agency here in San Antonio specifically. So Home Instead is a franchise, and so we don't cross boundaries. So I have 4 counties out of New Braunfels that we help, and then we have 3 out of Boerne that we serve. I will say though, we have a contract with the Veterans Administration through the VA, and we do go into Bexar County to serve veterans. I'm a veteran. It's very important to me that we serve veterans. This is Military City, USA. We have a lot of people that come through basic training with the Air Force, leave, and then they come back and retire. So we have about 58,000 veterans over the age of 65 in Bexar County alone. So there's a pretty high need, and most people don't even know that home care is something that the VA pays for. So
and the franchise in San Antonio doesn't have that ability? They
do not have a contract with the VA, so we step into that gap.
Okay,
and we come into Bexar County to serve.
Does that help?
My second it does. May I ask one other question?
Sure.
When should a home care provider like yourselves be contacted in terms of someone who has been almost diagnosed with Alzheimer's but can still function to some extent, and then is there a lot of prep time that needs to be done, or do you wait until the person doesn't recognize the spouse? And what is the situation?
That's
great question.
Man, that's such a great question, Mike. And there's no one right answer. I have to be honest. You know, the saddest part I think that we have to deal with sometimes is when people wait too long. You know, the number one way that we see people that come to us and they're desperate is if it's after a fall. Whether they have a memory issue or not, falls are incredibly challenging and difficult. So I would say if you can, I would say contact us at Home Instead and have a conversation early so that we can come up with a plan. We have client care. We have a client care manager and a client care coordinator in each office, and their role is to sit down with families, do a consultation, see what the needs are, and see if there's an alignment there or not, and care is needed. And we're going to give you an honest answer and say, look, you're not ready yet, but here are some things that you can do to prepare to maintain independence as long as possible. And then these are some ideas of things that you can look for, as there's a progression in the disease.
If these things that would trigger, happen, call us.
That's right. And this is when these things happen, that's when you really need to consider bringing in someone.
There's a fee just for that initial?
No, our consultation's free. That's such a great question. I take that for granted. When a family calls us, we go into the home and we visit with them, and we do a free consultation.
Great. Thanks, Mike, for the call.
Thank you, Mike.
I guess you're in San Antonio. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for the call. If you give Mark the details, I'll send you that book.
Okay.
Thanks for the call.
And I hope to hear from him what he thinks of the book. I hope he leaves a comment.
That'd be nice.
Whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
It sounds really interesting. You were telling me about it earlier.
Right. Okay, so we have to move on to your legacy, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Hopefully that gave you more time to think about.
Well, I didn't have time to think, but it's pretty simple. I don't have a lot in terms of legacy. I do have some baseball cards.
Oh, there you go. I
have a few baseball cards that my son knows he's going to get at some point in time. I have some properties, but nothing. The most important thing to me is not anything that's tangible, and it's going to be the love that we shared of Christ with our kids, and I hope that is something that they carry with them. There's nothing more important. So,
was there an opportunity when you were a coach? Did you get to share some of your faith, or was that frowned upon?
Yeah, so great question. It's different from state school to private school.
Mm-hmm.
My last coaching stop was at St. Edward's, which, of course, is Catholic. I'm not Catholic, however. There's obviously the shared love of Christ.
Right. We still got Jesus.
That's it. So we were able to do a daily devotion with the team where it started with me on day one. Before practices or games, whoever was next had to bring in a devotion of some type. And whether they did it with the Bible or without the Bible, we asked for something that was inspirational. And most everybody would use the Bible and have a verse or a couple verses. But I would start it, and then my assistant coaches would go, and then we would start with seniors and go down. And it's challenging for guys to speak in front of their peers, right? So it was a great opportunity to be able to do that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your
you.
legacy. How about all the people that you serve? I mean, through your caregivers and the care receivers, I mean, if somebody took care of my granddad and did a great job and made sure that he never fell down, I would really have a lot of love for that person, that caregiver.
We become family. You know, it's a very special, you know, it's a gift of what we get to do and how we serve people at their most vulnerable times, and families recognize that. It's, as you know, you deal with elder law, it's extremely challenging, all the things that are wrapped up in the aging process, right? From finances to emotions to all that stuff wrapped up. And we get to step into those really challenging situations, and what a tremendous opportunity that is. Yeah, I mean, it's a real gift.
So Shannon had a question about, we have Bert on the line. Awesome. Welcome to the show, Bert. You're live on the air.
Hey, Todd, how are you doing? And thank y'all, and bless y'all. This was a very great show, like Mike said.
Bless you too, Bert.
I just wanted to get the number because I was a United States Army Airborne Infantry Ranger, and I've had many falls and head injuries, and I'm needing care.
Bert, I'd love to be able to help you. Am I able to give number on the air?
I should have given you that opportunity
No,
already.
it's great. Bert, you're in San Antonio?
Yes, and I'm moving right now, so I'm having a bunch of problems. That's all I can say.
So tell me, are you closer to the west side of San Antonio or east side?
Well, I'm moving to the northeast side towards Schertz.
Okay.
I'm moving towards Comanche Lookout Park.
Perfect. So I'm going to give you that's closest to our New Braunfels location, so I'm going to give you that number. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, it's 830 624
624
8380.
8380.
And you call that number and you tell them you spoke to me on the air, and that and we'll be able to walk you through the process.
Forever memorialized in history.
Hey, look, and like I said, I have no problem with anybody of any faith, except I might have a couple of good Muslim friends, but I really don't like people that tell me that if you don't agree with me, we're going to kill you.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that. Thanks for your question and your call,
Thank you, Bert.
All right, y'all. Have a great week.
You
Talk
too.
to you later.
All right.
Okay, so another thing that I thought of is Shannon and I share a love for our parents and our grandparents, people that came before us and left us a lot of lessons. What's a lesson that has been reoccurring in your family that you learned from somebody older than you that you keep teaching to your kids?
Man, that's a great question.
That's a nice one, huh? Well, what did you draw on when you were a coach? I'm just fascinated with this coaching thing because I watched that show with that Lasso guy.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Oh, Ted Lasso.
Oh, Lasso. I'm sorry.
That's right.
You know,
Coaching is really underestimated. Like, it is a real calling.
I was telling Jeremy on the phone that the best thing it did for my son Thomas was to teach him how to manage his emotions.
Right.
You know, I think the number one thing that I can think about, and I think about this all the time, no matter where I'm at, I'm trying to leave things better than when I find it. Mm-hmm. If I walk into a room, and I tell this to my employees, if I get out of my car and I'm walking into the building and I see something in the parking lot, I want to pick it up. Mm-hmm. I want to leave it better than I find it. And when I leave for the day, if the trash needs to be taken out, I'm going to take the trash out because it needs to be done, and not waiting for somebody else to do it because that's not my responsibility, right? I hope that I set a good example to my employees and the people that I'm around, that we need to step into those gaps and fill them.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
This is a pleasure. Yeah, this is a lot of fun, and I appreciate the opportunity.
I bet the coaching experience really helps him select good employees. Like he has a good. You're good at reading people, I would imagine.
I do the best that I can.
As any human can, right.
Certainly not perfect.
Well, I want to say something about elder law. A lot of people don't know what kind of care that they want until I ask them. The thought never came to mind. Some people say, I want to stay home no matter what. Some people say, I want to move to the nicest retirement community in town. Some people say, I don't want to be a burden to my kids. Some people say they want to move in with their kids. And some people say they want to save the most money. They don't care how they're taken care of. They want to leave the largest inheritance they can for their beneficiaries.
How interesting.
And so if your attorney doesn't ask you that question, you should call Marquardt Law Firm at 210-530-4278, where we can help you with the Take Care Of clause, and we can help you with the Advanced Elder Plan. We have to go.
That was
We'll
fun.
talk to you later.